Namaste, Shalom, Salam, everybody. Satnam, this is Mother Sophia, Guru, Buddha incarnate in all of you, in me. Today, I am delivering my sermon in a bikini because there is no one way to worship. There is no one way to reach enlightenment. There is no one way to be pure. Although in today's society, someone who is pious and pure is generally covered up and not wearing a bikini and not beautiful. Well, I'm breaking all of that because spiritual is damn sexy, and through my tantric enlightenment, I have realized many, many things. And one of those things is the power of the female vagina. Yes, that's right. The worship of the yoni and the worship of the vagina. Now, the reason I know all this, because as I told you, divinity is expressing itself through me since I've been completely surrendered. I think it's 6 years now that all of this has been working and processing itself through me. When I was a nun, I became nothing, and then I was told to be everything. And now it doesn't matter what I realize. It doesn't matter what you wear. It doesn't matter what this looks like, as long as you are happy with it and you don't care what other people think. It's the thoughts of others that when they come into your mind have one of two effects. They can make you feel good and all positive information and vibration, or they can give you negative information and vibration. And you know, I don't even need to say to you, this is good and this is bad, because you know. Because your breath is the same one breath, is the word, is Om. So you know what that is. And I trust you to know what is good and what is moral. So when you come into your knowing, you will come to a place of complete joy and bliss and knowing. Now, when I go for a walk, every day this happens to me, and especially right now because the world is still. So when I go into the park with my dogs, and there's one particular purple flower growing at the moment, and I will go up to it and smell. And what it does, I feel orgasmic. The energy comes down to here, to my sexual organs. Then I look at the trees and I look at a bird fly out of the tree and back in again. I see the leaves of the tree moving to the wind, dancing. And I'm like, literally, I'm walking and I'm like, oh my God. And it's overwhelming. And that comes from my sexual power. That's pure bliss. That's pure orgasm. That's the sacred sex. That is everything. Now, let's talk about worship of the vagina. Now, the vagina needs to be worshipped. It's the place that generates the sexual energy for men and women. Fact. That's why all gay men have to have some sort of female influence, because they are naturally attracted to it. Not because they want to have sex with women, but they need that feminine energy which nourishes, which grows, which gives power. That's what it does. It's the female energy that does that. Because in the beginning there was nothing, then there was the divine feminine energy, which is the mother who gave birth to the father. And this is the nature of all things on planet Earth right now. So women will give birth to the masculine energy. The Y chromosome is weak. So when everybody is born, we are all born feminine, XX, and one of the chromosomes decides to become weaker, and that results in a man. So that should tell you straight away that the men are the weaker sex. But how is that balance recreated when a man knows that the power comes from the divine feminine, the creative force, the kundalini energy which exists in everyone is the source from woman, because we were all born from woman. So when that worship and that praise and that respect of the yoni, the vagina, comes into play with each and every one of us, then you will realize the power of it. And that doesn't mean ask a woman to open her legs and go, oh my God, I worship your yoni. The creative force is the woman. The whole of her is that. And the womb is a representation of all that nourishes and feeds and creates, because it is a representation of the cosmic womb, of the mother of me, of you. So when it is worshipped, then man gets powerful. Does that make sense? So, and I don't mean power just in money. I mean power in mind, in heart, in body, in soul, all of it. And most men have been tricked into thinking it's a sign of weakness to worship women, to revere women. But once they realize that actually it's the greatest power ever, they will realize their own power. But when men or anybody, another woman to another woman, if anybody disrespects the sacred feminine, the yoni, the sexual energy, is when they will suffer. So I think, that includes things like pornography, maybe even going to, strip clubs, in the sense that the divine feminine is beautiful to watch. But what I have seen, I've been to strip clubs, and I think they're a fantastic source of the divine sacred feminine. But if that woman does not feel respected in any way and is doing it for the wrong reasons and doesn't feel, it's all about energy. If she doesn't feel right doing it and feels in any way, oh, that guy's a pervert, this is wrong, but she still does it, then energetically, that's where the death comes in. That's where the energy dies. I've been experimenting with my own sexual energy recently on OnlyFans, which just progressed to me being dressed like this, to becoming naked and moving my body sensually and discovering my body and recording it. And I found that for myself it was turning me on. It was giving me energy. And I'm like, whoa, this is good stuff, And then the feedback I got from some of the guys was, this is powerful. I feel nourished. And that's what I want, and I wouldn't take it to the point where it was making me feel uncomfortable. That's when the energy changes, you see. We are all energy. Once you take out the space in your cells, because your cells are predominantly space, you're left with a sugar cube of matter for every single person that exists on the planet. Think about that. One sugar cube is everyone. So if one sugar cube is everyone, there's a greater power and energy behind it all. And that energy is me, my frequency, somebody else's frequency, and you can feel that frequency. So trust your knowing. That when you meet people, you can feel, okay, this energy doesn't make me feel right. They may not have even done anything wrong. I've been in situations where I've sat next to somebody in a restaurant or a bar, and I've had to leave because I'm like, and the person hasn't said anything to me, but I can feel not good. Or they might have been actually really nice to me, not good, I've had to leave. Because I know that frequency is not good, it's not doing me any good, and it's not doing the people around it any good. But the reason why I can feel it is because I feel energy. I don't judge, and most people judge. So your judgment comes from what you see, not from what you hear. Most people use their eyes more than they use their ears. So the first thing is when you see someone, you'll look at the way they dress or whatever, and you come to a judgment of that person because of the coat they're wearing. And I mean that in a metaphoric sense. And those judgments come from a belief system that's been fed to you. So you've been told that a woman who walks around on the streets naked is not a good person, for example. But if we go back to the ancient times, that judgment did not exist, and women who were naked were gods, because that's how God and goddesses were shown. You look at all the ancient gods and goddesses, they are naked, they're bearing their breasts. So it's a program, it's a mind program. We are not predominantly matter. We are light, we are energy, we are frequency. So it's a difficult thing for some people to get their head around because, I'm solid. But I'm not, because the cells themselves are space, and the cells are a force of energy. And there are certain people who have certain frequencies and certain energies. It's their job to be that particular frequency and energy. Someone might radiate love. Someone might radiate insecurity at that particular point in their life. So when you get rid of the heavy energies, everybody underneath is love, joy, abundance, and healthy. And it's wonderful. So going back to the divine sacred feminine, when the divine sacred feminine is worshipped, the yoni, the vagina, as the source of everything manifest in woman, and it feels respected on an energetic level. And if that woman then decides to give you a strip tease because she's like, I feel so good, I want to strip for my husband, my partner, a million people, because I feel good and I'm feeding off their good energy. I guess that's what people like Jennifer Lopez and Lady Gaga all do when they're on stage and they've got millions of people watching them. They're using that sexual energy, the yoni energy, and it manifests really in women because you don't have very few huge masculine stars who can do that. Maybe people like Elvis, but again, it was those swaying hips. He was using that sexuality and he loved it, but he was getting something back from the fans. There was no negative energy attached to it. And we need to take it off the stage for people like Beyonce, Lady Gaga, J-Lo, into each and every single one of us to manifest that. You don't need a record deal. You don't need a film deal to be that and encompass that beautiful feminine divine power. That respect first comes from you. You have to say, you know what, I'm okay with this. I love this. I'm enjoying it, you know. For example, I dressed up really sexy for my ex-husband once and he hated it and told me to get dressed back up. We didn't have a very sexual relationship. And it was because he was sleeping with escorts and associated sex with something that was not right. Because he had no respect for these women, obviously, when he went to see them. Because I'm paying for it, you know. So... and then he made me feel bad about that. Do you see how the programs creep in? So ultimately, and now I'm in the position where I don't care if anybody does that or feels that. I know who I am and I know it's their issue. They're dealing with something. But actually now in my life, I don't meet people like that because I can sense it and I don't bring them into my life. This is where it all begins. Do not bring those energies into your life. Respect for the divine sacred feminine, especially you, especially the woman, because when the woman is radiating, every single human being on the planet is radiating because it's the divine sacred feminine, which is in everything. The X is female. Everyone has an X. I hope that makes sense to you all. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comments and I will try and answer them. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the play of the universe through these magnificent bodies that you are given. Breasts, I love my breasts. I love my yoni. I love my bum. I love my everything. And too often we came into this world judging ourselves because we were judged. Then we go on to judge others. Once the judgment is gone, there is a massive liberation. And through that liberation, you can express yourself however you want without fear. I love you. Namaste, shalom, salam.